When you're in the business of moving pallets, loading docks, or just trying to keep a tight inventory on a small warehouse floor, the temptation is to grab the first scale you see on a shelf and hope it handles the job. The reality is that a platform scale that can actually stand up to 5,000 pounds, keep the numbers readable in a busy environment, and survive the occasional splash of coolant or dust cloud is a rare find. I've spent the last few weeks looking at a handful of options, comparing spec sheets, watching how they're installed in real facilities, and thinking through the little annoyances that only show up after you've already bought the equipment. The Atom Equipment PT315-5, also marketed as the AE503, is the kind of machine that promises to solve those worries, and the link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest hesitation most buyers have is whether a scale of this size will actually fit into the workflow without becoming a bottleneck. The PT315-5 sits on a diamond plate surface that's both slip-resistant and easy to clean, which matters when you're dragging heavy pallets in and out. The surface is large enough to accommodate standard Euro pallets without you having to edge a line every load, and the reinforced frame means you won't be worrying about the platform flexing under a fully loaded shipping container. In a typical day at a mid-sized distribution center, you might see 10 to 15 loads per hour. The scale's readout updates instantly, so you can keep the line moving without a pause for manual verification. One practical strength that stands out is the backlit LCD. In a dimly lit receiving dock, many scales become a guessing game, especially if the display is a low-contrast green on black. Atom's LCD is bright enough that you can glance at the weight from a few feet away, even when you're wearing a high-visibility vest. The backlight is programmable, so you can set it to stay on all the time if you work in low light, turn it off to save battery, or have it flash only when a weight change is detected. That little flexibility cuts down on eye strain and prevents the scale from becoming a source of distraction. The keypad is sealed, which isn't just a nice to-have feature, it's a practical necessity in environments where you might spill oil, water, or even small debris. The color-coded keys make it easy to find the tear button or the hold function without hunting for the right key, which speeds up the process when you're dealing with a rush of inbound freight. The tear function is especially useful when you have reusable crates. You can zero the scale with the crate on it, then weigh each load without having to subtract the crate weight manually. Connectivity is another area where the PT315-5 tries to earn its price tag. The RS-232 port lets you hook the scale up to a computer or a warehouse management system without needing any extra adapters. For businesses that already log every inbound and outbound weight, this means you can feed the numbers directly into your software, eliminating transcription errors. It's not a wireless solution, but the wired connection is rock solid and works over long cable runs, which is often more reliable in industrial settings where Wi-Fi can be spotty. Now, no product is perfect, and there are a few trade-offs worth flagging before you decide to click Add to Cart. The scale's capacity of 5,000 pounds is impressive, but the platform itself is designed for pallets and crates, not for oddly shaped loads that exceed the dimensions of a standard pallet. If you regularly need to weigh irregularly shaped items, say, large machinery parts that don't sit flat, the platform's edges may interfere, and you'll have to get creative with a secondary weighing method. The readout resolution is 1 pound, which is fine for most shipping and inventory tasks. But if you need tighter tolerances for example, feedstock measurement in a food processing plant, you might find that granularity a bit coarse. Another practical consideration is power. The PT315-5 runs on a standard AC outlet and includes an internal battery backup that keeps the clock and basic functions alive during a short outage, but it won't keep the whole scale operational if the power goes out for more than a few minutes. If your facility experiences frequent power interruptions, you'll want to plan for a small UPS or an alternate power source. Otherwise, you'll be forced to weigh manually during those gaps. So, who should really consider the Atom Equipment PT315-5? If you run a warehouse that moves pallets on a daily basis, need a reliable way to log weights for shipping invoices, or you have a shipping department that has to keep accurate records for compliance reasons, this scale checks the right boxes. Small to medium manufacturers that use standardized pallets for raw material intake will also appreciate the combination of high capacity, sturdy surface, and the ability to integrate directly with inventory software. The scale shines when you need a workhorse that can endure the grind of a busy